Hello, and welcome to Sideways. This week, we're talking about the impact of surrounding yourself with positive people and how much difference it makes when you can avoid being pulled into a self-perpetual cycle of negativity. We decide we're too old to understand why people go shopping in their pyjamas. Martin reveals a particular fondness for inflatables. And there's a chat about earwax. Positive people.
All right.
Yeah, not bad, thank you, mate. How about you?
I'm all right, thanks.
I was just getting my image centralised in my little window on the screen there.
What does that even mean?
I don't know. I was off to one side like that, and now I'm in the middle.
I've heard people describe you as off to one side anyway.
Yeah, well, I'm happy with that tag. Anyway, how you doing? Are you good?
I'm all right. I'm dried out now after getting a little bit damp this morning, which is the first time in ages.
It looks a bit wild out there, mate. You're not recommending going out? I haven't been out as yet.
I think you're fine now. It's a bit windy. Unless you're very willowy and likely to be blown away, I think you'll probably be okay.
Yeah,
but
I don't think...
the rain was extensive earlier on. You were probably still in bed at that point.
Probably. And it is Sunday. It is the day of rest. So, yeah, I wouldn't have been up early, that's for sure.
You see, I get up at the same time every single day.
Well, regardless, yeah.
It doesn't matter what day it is.
You've got a proper routine going on, haven't you?
Proper routine. I find that it's actually the thing that makes me feel most energised.
Is it?
It is actually. If you struggle with sleep, I don't think you do struggle with sleep. But if you are someone who struggles with sleep, it's quite a good idea to try that. Go to bed and get up at the same time every single day, regardless of what day it is. And I think you might find that it helps your insomnia. Is that what you wanted to talk about today?
No, it isn't. No. No. I always wanted to talk about surrounding yourself with the right people, and I'm not sure I am at the minute, to be honest.
I was going to say you and I don't know anything about that. Clearly.
But the idea sort of cropped up when I was reading one of your blogs.
Oh.
It struck me that it was a sort of a passing comment you'd made, but it struck me we hadn't done an episode on it, and it's quite an important aspect, really, or subject matter to discuss, especially for those of us in recovery. But I think everyone would benefit from what we're about to talk about, I'm sure. Yeah,
the idea that that you are a reflection of the people you surround yourself with, you mean?
Yeah, true. But before we start, though, just wanted to get back. Several people have been in touch with me and said how much they enjoyed the episode last week when we had our first ever guest on, didn't we?
We did. It was good, wasn't it?
It was good, and I think that it was KL Wells who came on, and I don't know. I just found it. I think she had a very infectious positivity about her, which leads on to the core of really what I want to talk about today. About surrounding herself with the right people and positive people.
Well, I think originally I think if I remember rightly, the reference I made in my blog was to something she had said.
Okay, so it all ties in quite neatly here, isn't it?
I think it's almost as if we've planned it.
I know. Well, it even links in a little bit with this week's blog, where you said that we'd done a bit of a grown-up podcast last week, which we had. We were on our best behaviour, weren't we?
Yeah, it was odd, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
Yeah, well, fortunately, we were able to top and tail it with some lunacy, weren't we?
We were, yeah.
Otherwise, we're going sort of wildly off-brand and people start thinking that we're just going to talk sense all the time.
Well, exactly, yeah. Yeah, which is not really our bag, is it?
Well, it's not. And it's also, it would create in me a fear of success, because it's that thing about when people start expecting you to be grown up all the time, then you have to keep consistently delivering that. And I know that I can't.
Well, quite. No, it's too much pressure, isn't it?
Far too much pressure. It's much easier for me.
But you video called me just a few moments ago, didn't you? Just about the starting time. Just reminded me earlier, I had a video call earlier on in the week with Jez, one of our listeners.
Right.
I video called him and spent the first couple of minutes looking down his ear canal because he had it held to his ear. It just reminded me of that. Yeah. So thanks, Jez. I can see you. I think you need a little bit of what are those called? Earbuds. Yeah, an earbud will sort that out for you, mate.
Or have you ever had your ears syringed?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
It's not pleasant, is it really?
Unpleasant experience.
Although it is very satisfying when just out of nowhere a bit of wax falls out of your ear. I always find that quite it's nice, isn't it?
Well,
that's two weeks running we've spoken about wax, I think.
I think we probably have, but it is nice if you've been. I remember I had mine syringe because I'd gone through a deaf in one ear, and when you start to hear through that ear again, it's an absolute relief.
Yeah.
But anyway, should we get back to the subject matter?
Go on then.
And we've talked in the past about the several aspects and the different sectors. You know, when we talked about the makeup of an addict, and we sort of visualize it as a pie chart, and there's sections in there. And one of the most important ones in there is our immediate peer group, because it can be massively influential on their behaviour, can't it? And I think we all know how draining it can be around constantly negative people or moaners, and how that influences their thoughts and perceptions of any given set of circumstances. And I think the opposite is true also. Being around positive people. Because I think when you're around negative, you know what it's like. But I think we both know people that have very little good to say about anything or anybody, and it can sap your strength, can't it? And often it almost feels like you're being dragged down to that level.
It does feel like that. I can remember some years ago. I can't remember who pointed it out. It's probably on some training course. Whenever I think of a corporate training course, I always think about that Ricky Gervais stuff in the office. But anyway, and I can remember someone saying, and I think it's particularly prevalent in a kind of office environment, which means it's probably prevalent in other kind of social groups, like groups of alcoholics, for example. Sure. But I think we have this kind of misguided thought that if we all moan together about something, we'll all feel better. But actually, the reverse is true. If you get into that sort of cycle of moaning, you inevitably all feel worse. But sometimes it can be difficult to step away from that and say, actually, I'm not willing to take part in this kind of negativity anymore. I'm going to find something relentlessly positive, which I think, as you said earlier, is one of the reasons why that chat with KL was so inspiring.
It was, but it's so easy to get dragged into that negative cycle as well, isn't it? You join the crowd, and I think because it's the path of least resistance, and especially if you're the sort of person, which a lot of us are, that want to be liked, and don't really want to step outside or to get involved in any sort of confrontation. You go with the flow, and there's so many people that come into groups that cite that as perhaps a reason why they've had a relapse or something has happened that's contributed to their addiction issues in the first place. And it is a big issue. I know from my own personal experience, it can be really tough if you're around the wrong people to say no. But it is something you have to learn. I think perhaps you learn it as you get older. You can start to see the wisdom of saying no and the benefits of saying no. But certainly growing up, I never felt that I was in a position to say no. I just went along with it.
I think that's right. I think one of the other things that happens as you get older is and we spoke about this recently, I think you begin to care less about what other people think. Yeah, so when you're younger, the peer group is everything for you. Whereas when you get to our age, you're not quite so bothered about being a curmudgeonly old git.
I think you're right.
You specifically.
Well, no, I fit into that category as well, quite nicely. I'm quite happy with that.
I was just thinking, and I know we have a rule about never talking about football on here.
Yeah, okay.
But actually, I think this is quite a useful example. You and I know we do it tongue in cheek, but you and I have this way of pulling each other into negativity around West Ham, don't we?
We do, yeah.
Yeah, because yesterday when they were losing to Kidderminster, I was sending you messages expressing my dismay, and you might at that point have been quite kind of upbeat and okay and doing something else, which I think indeed you were.
I was.
I'm kind of trying to pull you into my ire because I'm feeling frustrated and I want someone to share it with me, which is exactly that thing that we're talking about. Don't pull other people into your negativity just because you're feeling a bit low. And of course, if you're in the throes of addiction, it's dangerous, isn't it?
It is, but I think when you're, for example, when you are sending me those texts, you're almost wanting your emotion validated, don't you?
Exactly.
Aren't you? By having someone say, yeah, I agree with what you're saying there. So
exactly,
I know what you're saying.
Exactly, but that's the thing about negativity. We feel like we want someone to come and stand in our negativity with us, whereas actually what we really need is to either pull ourselves out or get someone else to say, "Come on, it's not that bad, is it?" Do you know what I mean?
I know. I think it's quite well known, isn't it? Also, not just emotionally, but one of the best ways to improve any of your life skills is to practice, or again, we're trying to avoid talking about football, but if you think people like tennis players, or people that do, we got the Winter Olympics on at the moment, they're skiers, and a lot of them will tell you that practicing their particular sport with someone else who's better than them pulls them along. It gets them up to that next stage. And I think that's important. Again, it's probably a little bit corporate-y, but I think it's important to surround yourself with winners, which is why in our support groups, it's always nice to have people in the support groups that have a term of, a reasonable length of sobriety under their belts as an inspiration, and to help other people that are just starting up on their journey.
Yeah, I think that's right. And I think that the definition of winner is broad there, isn't it? Because, a winner in that sense might be someone who's just got a very relentlessly positive mental attitude.
Yeah.
It's true, I think, of all sorts of things. It's the same if you're a musician. You're better off in a band with people who are better than you, because it'll probably pull you up.
Yeah.
If you play in any sort of team or in the corporate world or anything. And it would be the same in recovery. If you surround yourself with people who have a positive attitude, have got, years of sobriety behind them, have perhaps even been through a relapse and know what it's like to come back from one.
Yeah.
You're bound to benefit from that, aren't you? Bound to.
You are. And I think we were saying yesterday I was actually in a group yesterday whilst the West Ham game was on, which is why I wasn't getting dragged into the negativity that you were pushing for. But the positivity around the group yesterday was enormous. And there's people that were on various stages of their recovery, and it always inspires me. If people have got a day of recovery under their belt, or a number of years, it's exactly the same.
What happens then? Just thinking on that point, then, because it must happen sometimes in group, where the mood, the kind of vibe, takes a dark turn. Where someone, I don't know, for whatever reason, they're feeling burdened that day. They're feeling a bit negative. It's all feeling a bit too much. I mean, there must be times when the whole mood of the group turns in the wrong direction. How do you deal with that when that happens?
Well, it often happens. It is. I mean, it's a forum where people are free to say exactly what they feel and why they're feeling it. So, you can't expect everyone to be coming in with an upbeat vibe about them. It just doesn't happen. And so, but you tend to find people rally around at that point. You don't tend to get people getting dragged into the negativity. Other people will step in and say positive things and hopefully drag that person away from where they're feeling. So, I think that, there's enough people with enough experience to be able to handle that and to make people feel, or to question the way they're feeling, and to perhaps think about it in a different way. So, but that's part of the deal. That's a part of peer support. It's why it works so well.
Yeah, I mean, it says something about a collective feeling of positivity, like a collective emotional resilience, if you like.
Yeah.
So if one or two people are feeling particularly down, there is enough emotional resilience in the group to avoid kind of going down that avenue too far, which is this whole thing about be careful who you surround yourself with. I mean, obviously, if you're surrounding yourself with people in a peer support group, you'd expect there to be collective positivity.
Yeah.
But, out in the rest of the world, it's perhaps sometimes harder to reflect on the people that you hang around with and to see what sort of influence they have on you.
Yeah, it's quite strange because sometimes people will start off their share and say, I'm not sure I want to say what I was thinking of saying because the group is so positive today, I don't want to bring it down. But again, that's exactly, it's surprising how much everyone gets out of discussing that particular problem that they have, because it's invariably someone else in the group would have been through the same situation. And there's a lot of advice and help to be given there. So, yeah, but it works.
Yeah, but that's a great illustration of that point, isn't it? Because when someone says, I don't really want to say this because everyone's feeling so positive, there is a kind of misguided notion of fragility in the emotional resilience of the group. And what you really want in that sort of situation is to test the emotional resilience and then to find that it's strong enough to hold you.
Yeah. No, that's right. And not everyone has access to a support group, in life. So when I was doing the research for this, I was looking at, there's a few tips in this particular area that I came across, the things I just wanted to discuss with you about how to surround yourself with the right people, really.
Okay.
The first thing that was mentioned, there's various websites that I got these from, so it's a bit of a mishmash, but it said to find and focus on relationships with those who can share their wins and positive vibes with you and help you realise that you can do the same, because life is too short for negativity, which covers really what we were saying there to a large extent. It's
also, sorry, I'm being distracted by a woman who always walks her dog along here in her pyjamas.
I know, it's quite the thing to do these days. You often see people walking around the supermarket with their gym jams and
it's not
dressing
right,
gown on.
It's not right. There's something. I certainly don't want to surround myself with those sorts of people.
It's a weird concept, but I know if they're happy though, that's fine, isn't it?
I don't know if it's fine. Is it? I mean, yeah, obviously if they're happy, it's fine. But is it fine? Is it fine that you should feel okay about going out to the supermarket in your pajamas? I mean, I don't know. That doesn't feel as if that's very healthy to me.
Well, perhaps we're just getting old, mate. It seems to be the youngsters that are quite happy to do that.
Okay. I can't remember where I was now.
Not really.
I think it's also important, though, as much as having people around you that will share their wins and their positivity, I think it's also important to have people around you who will also be happy to talk about things that they've struggled with.
Yeah.
To kind of stand with you in the hole. Without always saying, no, you don't need to be in a hole. Sometimes it's okay for us to stand in a hole. The difference is when we say, oh, God, isn't everything terrible? Nothing's ever going to be better. That's the problem.
Yeah. That exactly right. I'm just going shoulder to shoulder with people. You can't always come up with answers. It's just being there for the right support, isn't it?
Exactly.
The next point that I found, it's one that you'd find quite easy, really. Is to find people who are smarter than you. Which we sort of touched on before. And if you're always the smartest person in the room, you're limiting yourself. That was the point that was being made.
I mean, that is fundamentally the reason I'm so limited.
Yeah, is it? Yeah.
Very difficult to find people smarter than me.
Oh, I see. So you see yourself on that side of the fence. Okay, well we'll agree to disagree, shall we?
Well, as my daughter pointed out to me, my tendency is to surround myself with the dogs.
Yeah. Oh, she did put that on one. I remember you mentioned that on one of your blogs. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and of course, actually, I'll tell you what I think about this. I think it's true. It is important to surround yourself with people who are smarter than you. But I think, smart comes in a lot of different guises, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
I reckon you can probably find in most people some area where they are stronger than you. I mean, not you, obviously, but most people.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, the next one, it's time for a quote, I think, don't you?
Is it Gandhi?
No, it's not Gandhi. It's someone called Jim Rohn, and now he's an American entrepreneur, author, and motivational speaker. And this is you'll probably find this one. Yeah, it's very corporate-y, this one.
Is it? Oh,
so you'll love it. And I'd like to see what your reaction is to it. But he says that you are the average of the 5 people you spend most of your time with.
Oh, yeah, I've heard this before.
Have you?
Yeah.
Well, I hadn't heard it before, and I don't think I particularly agree with it, but it seems it's an interesting discussion point, isn't it?
Well, he's kind of making the same point, isn't he? But it's a bit of it feels to me as if it's a bit of a kind of convoluted way of saying it. It's the same as you are impacted by the people around you. But
yeah,
I mean, for a start, I don't really spend time with as many as 5 people. I haven't got 5 friends, so I don't know. I don't know how I'd work that out.
Well, you're on your own all the time. So your average is just you. That's it. That's you won't move from that.
Can I include the dogs in that?
I suppose so. Yeah. Well, that's when you're surrounding yourself with smarter people. They're way smarter than you. So yeah,
that's true. Actually,
when it comes to rolling in fox poo, they're the tops, mate, aren't they?
Yeah, they definitely are. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know about that one really.
No,
it's got a neat
convinced.
little phrase, but I'm not sure about it.
Yeah, no, I'll leave that one out there. The next point, there's only a couple more, but was to cultivate real life relationships with people who have already accomplished your goals. Today's social media feeds can often be reminders of what we can't do, haven't done, or can't believe we can accomplish. So I know we've knocked social networks and social media in the past, but the real life things, which is why we like when we're able to do the face-to-face meetings as we are starting to be able to do again now after the COVID restrictions, it's a completely different set. It's a pretty different vibe, if you like.
I think that's right. I haven't really got anything to add to that, which is quite...
No, but the next point doesn't contradict it exactly, but it sort of moves on from it. That it says if you can't surround yourself with people who have what you want simply because you don't know them or can't get access to them, consume their media and make them friends in your head. So it's a point. Obviously, if for example, the Zoom meetings have been great for that. We've met people that we've never met face to face with, but we're able to use social networking in a positive way. So you become, if you follow, there's people on Twitter that you follow, which you've never met, never likely to meet, but you like to read what they have to say, and they become friends in your head. I think we can become friends in heads with people, can't we?
Yeah, no, I think actually that's quite a good one. But the difficulty with social media is, of course, the boundary to letting people who are negative influences upon you, the boundary to kind of stopping that from happening is so low. It's very, very difficult. I mean, Twitter is a great example of that. I have this kind of real love-hate relationship with Twitter. There is much about Twitter that I really love. I love its brevity. It's kind of instant. There's so much interesting stuff on there, stuff that makes me laugh, stuff that I didn't know. But it's almost impossible to keep vitriol and hatred out of your feed.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I struggle with. So in the whole kind of concept of surrounding yourself with positivity, it feels like you can't avoid mixing in a load of negativity with it, which is, why I struggle with it.
Yeah, no, I agree. Which a lot of people think over the years of being on Facebook or Twitter, people start to post less because of the negativity and just almost like stalk other people.
Yeah.
But I think I think stalk perhaps is the wrong word to use. If you are, there's certain people on Twitter, for example, that I follow. I rarely actually put anything out on Twitter, but I like to hear what they've got to say.
You're lurking, aren't you? You're lurking. It's called lurking, I think.
Yeah, I think, it is. And I do like to lurk, listen to what people have got to say. And they get the negative impact, negative comments, and it does impact upon them sometimes. But it doesn't impact upon me at that point. I can quite happily sift through that. But I know that the minute I put something online, it could be contentious or it could not be. Mm-hmm. There's a good chance that something will come back that will irk you, will be negative. So no, I agree with you on that. There's one last quote. Again, I'm not sure how you feel about it, but it says, if you want to become your best self, you should review, rethink, and cull through your social media and real life friends in inverted commas, and find the right people and media content that will actually help you get there. So
yeah, I'm all on board with that one.
Yeah. I thought it's a nice one to round this up. Really, yeah. It was strange when I was talking to one of the guys in group yesterday who had listened to our podcast. He went on to the to look at the Voices Encourage website. Then he realised that he'd already been following them on Facebook anyway. So that was a nice circle to complete. Yeah.
It was, because he was surrounding himself with positivity.
Exactly, yes. So I'll give Aaron a quick name check on that one, because it's I know he's a very regular listener, supporter of ours, which I'm very grateful for. Obviously, when I get feedback like that,
that's a segue, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, it seemed like you were itching to get onto your gratitude list, as if there was something that you wanted to.
Not really. No? You said I've come to the end of my notes, so I naturally thought, we must be moving on to gratitude then, because obviously, if you started moving the order around, that would be upsetting.
it would be upsetting to me. I couldn't do that, that's for sure.
You started doing Spotify playlist before gratitude.
Oh, I'd feel really uncomfortable with that, that's for sure.
I thought you said a tweak to routine was good.
Yeah, I did say that, and perhaps I ought to take some of my own advice on that and do that at some point. But I don't want to upset. I won't upset you this week. Anyway, what have you been grateful for this week?
Newsletters. Yeah, I was thinking this week. As I said, there's only kind of 5 or 6 that I follow, but I realised this week when I was reading stuff, there's such a mine of interesting information that I would never have found for myself, through books or the internet or anything. And, they're almost always free.
Yeah.
And there's something about people sharing their knowledge and their thoughts and their wisdom in that way, in such a kind of uncommercial way, that I find very encouraging in terms of, thinking about the world and the people in it. So, those little moments of joy you get from reading something.
Yeah.
That someone spent hours curating. I feel grateful for that this week.
Yeah, they tend to be quite concise as well, don't they? And so the message isn't it isn't too flowery. It tends to be
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
No, I agree. I do like newsletters,
especially mine. I particularly like.
Well, I do read yours from time to time. Grudgingly, I'll read through it. Yeah. But mine's quite different from that, really. Because on my list this week, I've put blow-up beds with a built-in pump. How does that sound?
Well, for a start, I almost choked on my coffee there because I don't know why, I thought you were going to say blow-up dolls.
Well, that's a nasty thing to say, to think I'd be entertaining that sort of behaviour.
Well, it's just I thought, blimey, this is a reveal. This is a
revelation,
reveal. Yeah. But now you said blow up beds with a built-in pump. I'm keen to know more.
Well, it's just that we've been working away the last couple of weeks at an empty property, and it's got the other facilities in there, like a TV and a sofa, and the kitchen appliances are still there, but there were no beds, so we took down blow up beds. And mine's I've only had mine. I've only used it a couple of times, but it's got. I remember it just takes me back to the old days when I used to go camping with my parents, and the blow up bed. You had to have a foot pump that used to take forever to go. Or you had to try and blow it up by mouth, and you'd start fainting because you'd exhaled too much. and they were a nightmare to get up, and they always used to go down in the night. They were terrible. But this one, you just plug it into the wall, and it blows it up, and it blows up to a nice hard consistency, and they're really comfortable. And then you just put it on reverse, and it collapses it right down. So it when you want to pack it away again. So yeah, I was really grateful to have that available to me for this week. Or the last couple of weeks.
I can understand that. So did you did you and Les have a blow up double?
No, we had one each. He was in separate rooms.
I thought I just had this vision of you being like Morecambe and Wise.
I can imagine that as well. If one of you turns over, you're going to bounce the other one off the bed, aren't you?
I don't know why that's really tickled me, that mental image. Brilliant.
Yeah, well, I was grateful for it anyway. So there we are.
I'm grateful for the fact you told me and given me that mental image of you and Les sleeping together on a blow-up bed.
Well, I'm sure he'd be delighted with that idea as well, yeah.
All covered in paint without fingertips.
Anyway, moving on to a Spotify search.
So what did you put in?
Well,
People?
Yeah, no, I put... I did put people in. I tried to put all different things in, like the right people, positive people. I did come across a band called Susan and the Right People, which was sort of a violin-fronted pop band. They were.
Does Susan play the violin?
Sorry?
Does Susan play the violin?
No, she's the vocalist. But beautiful.
Did you find there's a Cherry Ghost song that's got the word people in it? What's it called? Yeah,
I think it's not with just the word.
Really
just the word people was just an enormous. I had to try and fine it down a little bit.
Well, I expect I know. I already know what you've put on there. You've put something on there by the Village People, haven't you?
No, I haven't.
Is it YMCA you've put on there?
No, it hasn't made my cut. Right? But now you've mentioned it, that should have been right in there. Shouldn't it? It was at the top of the list. Beautiful People by Ed Sheeran, which is a track that I particularly like. There was a track that really nearly made the cut here because I particularly like the band Embrace. I've got a number of their CDs. They do a track called "All You Good People."
Yeah, I know it well.
Yeah, very close to putting that on, but I came across a band called Can't Swim. They're an American rock band. Proper American, a current one, not an 80s.
Like Boston?
Nothing like Boston.
Like Journey?
No, more like more like The Offspring or something like that. You know, something a bit more up to date. But they do a track called "Sometimes You Meet the Right People at the Wrong Time." So I quite liked the sentiment, and I loved the track. So I'm putting "Can't Swim" onto the list for this week.
Okay, good. Have we ever spoken about the time that I saw Embrace at Bedgebury, Pineaton?
Well, I think we may have done. Was it because I know they played? There used to be a little hippie festival, they used to call it, over in Headcorn, and they played there. And I didn't actually see them, but everyone was saying how dreadful they were. The vocalist really couldn't hang a tune. Is that what your impression?
That is exactly what happened.
Yeah.
I mean, I loved Embrace, and we went to see them, and it was unbelievably bad. His vocal performance. Astonishing.
Yeah, that's the feedback. I've never seen them live, but that's the feedback that I've had, and you're the second person to tell me. Well, there were several people over at Headcorn told me exactly that. I
mean, I was quite surprised someone hadn't called the police. Crimes against melody.
Yeah, drag them off the stage.
Yeah, it's outrageous. Anyway, There we are. Just as an aside, I wasn't grateful for that, I can tell you.
Well, no. I mean, it's strange considering their albums are just so good, aren't they?
Yeah, you can do a lot in a studio.
Yeah, you can, can't you? Obviously, yeah.
Auto-tuning and such. Yeah.
But there we are. That's me wrapped up.
Good. Well, that's it then. I'll take the dogs out for a walk.
Back out into the weather. Or if the weather's cheered up now, you'll get less wet this time.
Well, it's dry but windy, but we don't mind wind. Tends to make them go a bit wild.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, mate. I'll speak to you later.
See you next time.
Bye.
Laters. Sideways was created by Graham Landy and Martin Pankhurst. If you want to read more about our work or sort through the extensive archive of past episodes, just visit grahamlandywellbeing.co.uk/sideways-podcast. You can follow us on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram at Sideways Podcast, and you can email us if you have a question or if there's something you'd like us to cover. But most of all, we want to tell you how grateful we are that you come and listen, and we ask that if you've enjoyed what you've heard, that you spread the word. And we'll see you next week.